All right, we are live. It is Monday. It's painting day. We are zoomed out a bit because we need to be to get this guy in here. He's a little bit larger than we've been working on. He's on a 10 by 10. It's a stretched canvas. Last week we worked on doing the design and painted our background in. And then we also started to paint in our circles with their base background colors. We're not quite to doodle stage yet, but we will be. So our background, we did a wash of fuchsia pop. The background was lamp black. And now I'm working on the circles for those I'm using Snow Titanium White. We are using Deco Art Americana craft paint. I prefer the craft paint over the more expensive stuff. I just do. I just find it works better for me. I like that it flows a bit better. I've tried using the two paints, and the two paints are okay. You know, you can get different effects, and the other ones dry a little bit slower, but I like the matteness of these when they dry, and it just feels better for me. We are also using 3 shades of gray. We are using Gray Storm. We have used Slate Gray, and Gray Sky has not yet made an appearance, but it will today. Just make sure we've got that good and shook. So I think we did use this on the mountain river canoe painting. Excuse me. All right. So I'm just using the lid of a Dollar Tree shoebox container currently as my paint palette. Nothing special. Funny enough, these clean up kind of better than actual paint palettes I've used. So I'm like, okay, sure. So we left off working on this one down here. And I wanted to do this lighter gray. For the background on this one. Now these aren't like the highest quality craft paints, and it is craft paint, so you know, probably gonna need a couple of passes on some of the colors. That's inevitable. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. There's been some like tube artist paint that I've had to do a couple of coats on. Previously, so I'm gonna have to do multiple coats. I'd kind of rather buy the slightly less expensive stuff. Oh, shit. My hand has a tendency to wiggle, so I need to go a little bit slowly. When I am right up against stuff. So we did this bottom wash in the fuchsia pop, like we really watered it down. because I wanted to see how this would look with that under it. And I can kind of see it bleeding through coat number 1. I guess bleeding through is not quite the right word. Shining through, because the wash is definitely dry. And we're going to add more details to these as we go. But I want to get all of my colors worked out first. Like, I want to come back in and add outlines to stuff here and there. So like if I outline all of the big circles where they touch, I was thinking of maybe doing black there and maybe outlining it in a different shade where it's just the black on the edge. Just to try to give it a different look. I don't know. We're just kind of playing at this point. And we'll probably add some dots and stuff. With the dotty tools, I've got some rhinestones I got on clearance that I kind of want to add to the center of our flowers once I get everything sealed. Like, I'm a little leery of sealing the rhinestones because I don't know how they're going to react to the sealer, so maybe I'll do a test of that. Got a fuzzy in there. Forgot I kind of need to use a smaller brush in those tight corners. Okay. More fuzz. Oh, you know what? I think I cleaned my fan. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I think some fuzz blew through. Got on my lid there. I mean, it is plastic, it is a little staticky. So I'm not all that surprised. So how's everybody's Monday going? That was a very loud car. Very loud. Looks like the audio is working today. Again, sorry for the audio mishap yesterday. Still mad about that. And embarrassed. Happens to the best of us though, right? I should go back and look at settings, and this mic is set to default. Windows 11 and the updates have, like, it'll still be my default mic in Windows. It's just with OBS, it keeps switching it off. So it's something with OBS and Windows Update every damn time. And for some reason, OBS doesn't view this as the default. Or something. I don't know. We've tried fixing it multiple times. Okay, so this is definitely lighter. It's a lot lighter as it's drying than it looked in the bottle. I will say that. Because I was like, these two colors look almost the same. But now that I've got them out here, no, that is not the case. So like maybe I outline this in white. When we get that far. And then this section I do in black maybe. We'll figure it out. It's going to be a little bit before I get quite that far. I almost started this a little early. And I was like, no, that's too early. Nobody wants that. I was like, I should really work on some video editing, so I tried to do that for a minute. And then realized that I hadn't checked in to see if there had been a jury verdict yet in one of the trials that I was following on the internet. There hasn't been yet. Kind of surprised me, but I guess they are taking their time and reviewing every bit of evidence. I kind of would have thought that this jury would have been done with this nonsense. But maybe there's a couple people that don't feel the same way. Don't know. Hard to say. So I checked in on that. And then I was like, oh, I need to get the recycling out. I still have time. And then realized, oh, now I'm late. So, of course, right? Always the way. Sitting here twiddling my thumbs, waiting for stream to start. Remember something else that I needed to do. Go and do that, and then I'm running late. Every damn time. So I actually might end up adding some more flowers to this than I had drawn out. I hadn't planned on this being so flower heavy, but if that's the way this is taking us, then that's the way it's taking us. So I kind of have all sorts of little rhinestone-y guys in different sizes. So, I mean, they're close, right? But they're not the same. It is drying a little bit darker, which this paint tends to do. Not a complaint about that. Some paints dry lighter than they look in the bottle, and some dry a little bit darker. This brand has been leaning towards a little bit darker. And it's not a complaint, it's just an observation. Do I want to do a second coat on that? I kind of do. Let me rinse though. I'm going to keep the paint from getting too stuck on up in there. I'm going to need a new towel soon. I do think that. I want to use a different brush for coat number 2. Or do we think this one will be good enough? I do run the risk of it looking a little bit different. If I grab a different brush. Because each brush has its own little built-in texture. The way the bristles are and all, and what they're made out of, and their own sort of individual softnesses and hardnesses and snappiness and all that. But my question is right now, so we've got this one flower here. What do we want to do with these other 2 circles on here? Do we want to paint those that real dark gray? And do like a tiny flower in those? We could. I will probably attach the rhinestones with the glue that we've been using on our magnet pieces. Just to make sure they're going to be good and stick on there. I can go a little bit faster on pass 2. Since I'm just kind of trying to make sure that I don't have too thin of a pass on that first one. Like, I don't mind some of the pink kind of shining through, but I'd also don't want that much of it shining through. I kind of just want it to mostly be kind of the same shade as our undercoat on this guy. So if we do this light gray here, we could outline the entirety of the outer circle in white. And I'm thinking using black where they're touching. I don't know if that'll be the same for all of them. Like all the large circle bits, but we'll see. So I don't know what to do about the inner circle bits either. Like, we probably technically don't have to outline the inner circle bits. That could potentially get very busy, but we'll have to see how things are feeling as we get there, though, right? As with all of it. Okay. So I still have a good bit of this light gray down, and I kind of want to do some more of this light gray while I still have it. The question is, where is it gonna go? So like this one, this can be dark gray. This can be dark gray. That can be dark gray. That can be the super dark gray. We can do this light gray. And maybe this light gray. And maybe this the medium gray. Grab that other brush real quick here. Like, I still have this puddle of paint, so I didn't want to just let it dry up here. Like, that would have been a waste. Right? And I know my paint is drying on my lid as I'm using it. Like, that's inevitable, so I try not to put too much out. I know this paint's not like uber expensive, but it's still expensive for me. I mean, folk art would be more expensive, but even in the grand scheme of things, folk art's not hugely expensive. It just means that I can't get as many colors at a time. And I know a lot of people will be like, oh, just mix your own colors. No thanks. That gives me all sorts of anxiety. I'd rather not. Especially if I find that one shade and don't remember the exact ratio. What was that? It sounded like pills fell? Like a pill bottle? It sounded like it was in the room somewhere. And I know some people can be kind of snobby about the types of art supplies that you use, but you know what? That shouldn't really matter. If that's what you can afford and you're still able to make something awesome with it, then what exactly is the problem? Now, you might have some issues if you're with light fastness with some things, but that can even be big trouble with the real expensive stuff. But if there's like some things where if you want to frame it, you can pay a little extra and get like UV glass to try to block some of the UV light so that it won't fade as fast or as much. Like there's workarounds for stuff. Just, keep in mind that some colors, especially if they're hung in direct sunlight, might fade a bit faster than others. But that's true across like all mediums, so make what you love. Right now it looks like we just have a picture of wiffle balls on here. At the moment. Sort of. Not exactly. Not as many holes as wiffle balls, but definitely reminiscent. Okay. So we'll have this big section be this light gray. Okay, I'm gonna tilt this up just a little, because this does come onto the edge just as it's starting to curve. Doesn't like go down the side entirely, but is a section I want to get. I'm gonna have to raise it up to get it. And if you know that the paint starts to dry fairly quickly in your brush, then by all means, in your area, you know, tailor it to your area. But if you need to do more maintenance rinses, even while you're still working on the same section, then that's what you need to do to save your brush. This brush is getting a little scraggly. We've used him quite a bit. He's taken quite a beating for us. I was going back and forth with gouache and acrylic with him, but when he started to get a little too beat up, I was like, okay. Probably not the best decision. I probably should have either left him acrylic or left him gouache instead of swapping back and forth. It also might be how I was rinsing it. Entirely possible. Oh shit, that's not what I... Oh no, that's right, that's right. I got confused. Never mind, we're good. We're good. This is correct. For a second I thought I was supposed to be doing that one. I'm like, no, because those are connected. Sort of. Okay. So, again, this one kind of comes to the edge here, okay, I'm gonna have the same thing on this edge. And this one, well, these two are going to get a second coat on them. Let me rinse my guy here. Okay. Got a bit of paint built up. The very edge there. I mean, he's still functionable. Okay. So, get a bit of a maintenance rinse there. And then just gonna come back in for pass number 2 on our friend that has already dried. We ended up getting Zuzu a new harness yesterday. Oh my goodness. They're so expensive. Holy cow. Talk about sticker shock. Alright. So we'll get this filled in. It wasn't supposed to rain today, but it looks like it wants to. They're saying we're gonna have rain Wednesday, either afternoon or night. Supposedly. I mean, we'll see if we actually end up getting it. They're saying we could have almost another inch of rain. So it's been kind of steamy lately with all the wet. I thought they were saying that we could see heat indexes into the triple digits this week, but now I'm not seeing any evidence of that in our local forecasts, like our specific to this area. But then again, the other night they were like, oh no, heavy spicy sky, and I'm like, oh, great. And then we didn't get it. Didn't even rumble once, and I was like, huh, okay. So either the models are just bad, or there's other shenanigans afoot. I mean, I don't want angry spicy sky. Trust me. Not a fan of that. I understand it's inevitable. And we do need rain. I just don't like the spiciness. That is always a bit of a concern. I still have some of this color down. Where else should we go with it? That is the question. So this was going to be the medium gray. Like that gray. This can be that dark gray. Dark gray. Dark gray. Medium gray. Could go white here. I could go white here. Medium gray. White. I could go that real dark gray. I could go the medium gray here. Alright. So I'm gonna go light gray on this one. Okay. So I'll probably have to put some more gray out to get this one's second pass done. And then I think we'll switch over to another color here. So I don't like jumping around quite so much because then I forget what I had planned on doing. I might just take it from the bottle lid. So that way I don't waste too much. I don't want to get too ahead of myself and then realize that that's going to look weird because I'm going to have two of the same color touching. And while that might be inevitable in some spots, I'm trying not to. And this one we are changing things up a bit and just kind of going with shades of gray. Black and white. Because why not? I don't normally do stuff in this color range specifically. So let's change things up a little bit. Right? Hopefully we can get a little bit done today. Okay, well, that kind of dries just for a second. I'm just gonna get a drink here. All right. All right. So it's not quite dry. And we are gonna have a flower over this one. So like it doesn't have to be super perfect. but since the other one's got a second coat, this guy's definitely going to need a second coat. If only to keep it the same shade as everybody else, because you know, as you layer up these paints, they will also look a little bit darker. That's just inevitable. Okay. I did sorry, I hear a dog barking. Definitely coming from outside. But it didn't quite sound like it was in a vehicle, and I'm like, why? Our neighbor has a tiny dog that we like never really see, so it doesn't really bark. I think we've heard it bark like maybe twice. Or just never outside at the same time they are. So I think we want the slate gray. That'll be this color. Give that a good shake-a. Like I said, I try to work in small amounts on my palette. Like, that's how big the drop is. It's not uncommon for jailbreak dogs that got out of their yards to end up at our property. The barking has since ceased, so I guess it wasn't a car, it just didn't sound like it was in a car. Oh gosh. I think I put too much of this out. Maybe. Maybe. Oh, right. I started to say and I got distracted. I went back in to the YouTube page and rescheduled everything to every day because I was doing an experiment to see what things would look like if they got more views if I left a video up for if I was posting like every other day. Some videos got a little bit more view time on it or more views to it, but my actual views on the channel and my watch time hours tanked. So that wasn't so great. And wasn't real happy about that. Alright, so I know I think I was originally talking going dark gray with that, but if I go the dark gray, then this would have to be the slate color. If we go slate here, 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 and here, then I can make that the super dark gray. Make that the super dark gray. Let's go with that. That should be like enough of a contrast between those two. Where I think we're okay. I seen you. There you are. Say no fuzz in the paint, please. Causes nothing but trouble. Nothing but trouble. So are you guys like a chaotic pull from your paint puddle type of person? Or does it have to be more orderly where like you're like scooping in from one side and working your way across your paint puddle? Or are you like more chaotic where you're just diving into the center, you're coming in from all angles like a seagull on a cheeseburger on the boardwalk? Like, somebody dropped popcorn! Is it a feeding frenzy? Is it every man for themselves? Or do you have a little more order when you are diving into your paint? For me, I think it depends on my mood. I have like come at paint puddles from different sides before. I have gone straight into the middle. But I think most of the time, I think most of the time I am coming in from a specific side of my paint puddle. Usually. Probably should have rinsed this before I started this side. Probably should have. So dark when we woke up. I wasn't sure what the weather is doing. I was like, ooh, let me check the radar. Don't remember it being quite this dark at this time of the morning. It's usually a lot brighter. The sun comes up. Oh, as the sun comes up, it's hitting our house. There's too many buildings and trees in the way to get a proper good view of the sunrise, though. Which is a bit of a bummer, because I did pick up an appreciation for sunrise, at least in Key West. There seem to be a lot of people. Not as many as sunset. But there still seem to be more people than I expected, tourist-wise, heading down to places to catch the sunrise. And a couple of those sunrises were very pretty, and it was a bit more of a show than a couple of the sunsets we had. Which, kind of shocking. I didn't expect sunrise to be quite that colorful down there. But then again, I'm not normally a morning person. I am usually an up all night person. But it's hard to be an up all night person when you're not at home, or if you have a job that dictates that you're awake during the day as well. I had a lot of night jobs, but like I didn't always used to be a night person, but well, no, I always had trouble sleeping at night. I don't know why. Always have, ever since I was little. But like 5, 6, 7 in the morning, I'm sleepy. Don't talk to me. It's night time. But traveling works more on a daytime hour kind of situation. most of your flights are during the day. I mean, there's some international ones that might leave in the middle of the night or come in the middle of the night. Depending on where they're coming from and stuff. At least around here. Like, most airports are closed up by like midnight, 11 o'clock. All the shops are shut down. It's not worth paying somebody to be open if there's no flights going out at that point, you know? And they don't really care about the flights coming in. Like, no. Figure it out. But, like, you know, even if you're... I mean, you can car trip at night, but it's a little more dangerous, I think, with, like, deer and stuff. I mean, not as many cars on the road, usually, but it can also be very disorienting on a lot of roads that don't have street lights and it's just like pitch blackness and just your headlights. And you can't really see the lay of the land around you. So I don't really like traveling at night. And then, you know, housekeeping always comes by and they have to check on the room every couple of days if you've had your do not disturb sign up, usually depending on the hotel. And then most of the places that you want to go to check out are only open during the day, so you kind of just have to suck it up and be awake during those times anyhow. Alright, so I'm just coming in with pass number 2. On our slate gray color here. It's amazing how much lighter this color looks on the light color, like next to it. Like over here it looks super dark. Over here, it kind of doesn't look anywhere near that shade. And I think I only did 2 coats over there. Like, I don't think I did 3. I mean, it's possible, I guess, but I don't remember doing so. Alright, so we are just finishing up our second pass on this one. Tomorrow we're starting a new magnet. I saw a different shaped wood base that I thought would make a fun magnet. It was 2x3 instead of 3x3, and I was like, oh, that looks fun. But I think it was a little overpriced. On Michael's website. It was an online only item, so I think it might have been like a different supplier to them. So I might check woodpecker.com. I've gotten a couple of things from them before that seemed okay price-wise. I'll have to see. And this brush is just looking all kinds of sad. That's okay. There's a reason it's not in the tube with the other ones. Okay. So if we do the dark gray here. These two, I don't know what color they're going to be. I suppose these two can be this gray that we currently are working on, this medium gray. These two might need to be this shade. Ultimately. Okay, so this one can be this shade. Like, for sure, that can be this one, because it's not touching itself anywhere. It's like, I can't really have this one be this color, and that one be that color, because then it's going to look like they're connected. I mean, I suppose if we outline it, it might not be so big of a deal. I guess. But I was trying to avoid having the same colors touch each other. So this would be a solution to that. So that means if I paint this one this color, this needs to be the dark dark gray. So, because this is that, no. So I can't have this lighter gray and this medium gray in here. This needs to be the dark gray. Now, this could be, yeah, this could be the medium gray. Could be medium gray or white. But I think I would like to have this shade. Then these two, like this isn't touching its own color. And then have that dark color in there. In the middle. Okay. So this one needs a second pass. Uh-oh. I heard a thumpy zuzu. What time is it? Oh. It's thumpy zuzu o'clock, because that's what time it is. Oh, we're itchy. Oh my goodness. Buddy. Buddy. Easy there. Need help getting up? Do you need help? No, you do it? You're not gonna make that jump though. Oh, you did. Okay, good job. That was a bit of a daring jump for him. At least as of late. Okay. Yeah, so that one and that one will probably be the lighter gray. That'll be the dark gray. That'll be dark gray. I haven't forgotten you, little friends down here. What do we want to do with you? how about we do your base color here in this color. I think I messed up part of your circle though, because something doesn't look right on this one. It looks like chopped off. So I think I got confused when I was painting the background. It kind of looks like. I feel like maybe that's supposed to come down that way. I think. Like, I'm just kind of guessing here because I don't really remember. A lot's happened since we last were designing this guy out. Okay. Still have a little bit left. Of this color. Just trying to figure out where all I want to put him. I do apologize if my head keeps dipping into the shot. But I am zoomed out a bit. In an attempt to get most of this in frame. Most of it. Alright, so I think we'll finish this circle. We'll get our second pass on the other one, and I might need to open the bottle to get just enough to get this one second pass in, and then we'll look at our next color that we want to work on. Who still needed second passes? I think just this guy. I think. So we will have another video going live tonight. I believe it's another Honey, I Joined a Cult video. Now this one isn't completely dry. But I think it might be dry enough. For what I'm trying to do here, because this circle is going to have a flower. Actually, we're going to be adding more circles than more flowers than I had planned on. Because it just kind of feels like the way this wants to go. Now, not all of them will have flowers, but I am thinking of maybe even some of these side circles, us adding like half a flower to them. Might work out here. Is the washer running?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Let's rinse that. Okay, so now I want our gray storm color. Feels like this should be slate and this should be storm, but it's reversed. I do want the Drake Girl pick. Okay. Find a place on my lid that's convenient to reach for. Now, let's see here. Where do we want to dive in first? I guess over here, and then I can work that way. So these are just acrylic craft paints, nothing special. Now this gray storm color is very thin and very streaky. So this one I'm probably going to have to do 3 coats on. It's definitely 2. If nothing else. It's definitely 2 on this shade. But that's not so bad. It's still better than the last brand that we were using. That brand was definitely not so great. I think Apple Barrel might have been better than that brand. I've used Apple Barrel in the past and not had to do as many coats. as I did with Anita's. I will say I never was a fan of Anita's, even when I was working for the craft store. The couple bottles that had broken open on the floor, they never really were great. And the classroom coordinator who helped set up birthday parties, and she did displays around the store and stuff. She always used either folk art or Ceramcoat. But I don't know if Ceramcoat's still around. And I know this because we would take rolls of art paper for the displays on the end of the aisle, because our store manager hated the pegboard showing on the ends of the aisles. So we would have to get double-sided Scotch tape, put a multitude of strips on it, on the pegboard. Like top, bottom, middle, sides, like in between the peg holes. That was key. You couldn't put it over the peg holes. It didn't matter so much if you were putting shelves up, but if you were actually putting peg hooks in there, you needed to be able to access the holes for the hooks. And if the tape was covering the holes, it made life a lot more difficult for you. And you had to like really jam them in there. That was not fun. So we had to get these rolls of art paper for like little kids' easels, essentially. But they were a little bit longer and thinner. And we had to tape them to the pegboard. And then with whatever the color combo of the moment was, if it was spring, it was usually like purple, yellow, maybe pink. It kind of depended. The classroom coordinator, if she was able to, would have to come by and sponge the paper with splotchy sponge design with the sea sponge, with the color combos. It was 2 to 3 color combos. It depended on what we were doing. I know this because I've had to do it. I probably wasn't supposed to be doing it, but the assistant managers would have me do it on the weekends when I was doing the office. They're like, hey, can you go sponge this for me? I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, it's not that busy up front. Like, okay. Because they were, seasonal was always in flux. You never knew what you were getting for seasonal. Like, you had an idea based on what the planograms were that came in of where stuff was going when things were first initially set up. However, you could try to reorder those things, and you might get them for a little bit. But as the season dragged on, you might order a certain type of pick, but you're not going to get it. You'll get something else. Similar, but not the same thing. And it's like, okay. So they were constantly condensing to make room for stuff that showed up. So on the seasonal stuff, you had to shop it early if you saw something you liked, because it probably would not be there if you waited closer to the season to get it. It probably wasn't going to be there. I'm going to switch brushes here because this is a little tight for this brush. So, definitely don't wait. If you're at like Michael's or Hobby Lobby, I don't know how they do it, but I know how we did it. Because they were constantly condensing stuff down and having to move stuff over, and which meant, okay, well now we have to move this down this way, and what we have to put in here isn't necessarily Christmassy, but it's what we have right now. And we don't want blank spaces in these aisles. We want some kind of merchandise. So like as the Christmas stuff would start selling down, they would go into the back and they're like, what do we have? What do we have a bunch of? We have a bunch of kids craft kits that were discontinued and don't have a home. Great. Pull them out of that table storage. And we'll put them here and we'll price point them at this since they were discontinued to try to get rid of them. What were they selling for this price? All right, you know what? We can do that. Make sure that that's what they're scanning up at the registers. So we don't have to call main office to try to get the price changed in the scanning system. They would just start throwing anything in there. If we had an overflow of fountains from spring. Hey, tabletop fountains, those make a good Christmas gift. Throw them in there. I'm not kidding. It was crazy. Like, they came to me several times. What do you got? When I was merchandising over there. I'm like, I don't know. There might be old craft kits that we had more than would fit back into the shelf when they were on special under this table. They're like, awesome, pull a bunch of those out. Fill those shelves. Okay. I don't want them back, though. Make sure they sell over here, because I don't want them back. I actually kind of was starting to enjoy merchandising silk flowers, to be perfectly honest. I wasn't a fan of the people in that particular store that worked there because they all kind of felt cliquey, like way super cliquey to me, and it was really uncomfortable. But some people are like, "Oh, don't talk to that person. They're a snitch. They're always telling the store manager everybody's business." And I'm like, "Really? They seem okay to me." But like, what do you mean telling manager everybody's business? Like, is this business that should be told? Like, are you guys doing shit you shouldn't be? Like, if you're that worried about it, maybe not do. Ooh, that was almost bad. Maybe not do the thing that you're so worried about her going around telling people about. Like, what's the problem? And she's the only one that would fucking talk to me. So if y'all don't want me talking to her, why don't you all talk to me instead? And besides, she's in my department. She's at the counter that I'm working at. I kind of have to talk to her. Not that you all are making me feel welcome. I mean, Christ, I left a note asking so-and-so if they could pick up cleaning in this spot, and they almost quit. And I'm like, seriously? That's quite a reaction to have. Because I asked you to do something. I didn't threaten to fire you if you didn't. All I did was ask if you have time. Could you pick up cleaning in this spot? That's it. Kind of made me realize why that store was struggling. I understand I'm an outsider, but holy fuck, people. Okay. So, I'm gonna come back up here. Now I might end up needing to switch back to that other brush here. We will see. This color definitely needs that second. Truth be told, it probably could have used a third on that centerpiece. I can see a little bit of the pink shining through, but I'm trying not to obsess over that too much because I'm going to be putting designs in on top of it, and it's probably not even going to be noticeable when we go to do the design. Okay. So I know I'm not like working at super fast breakneck speed here, but I'm not in a real big rush to finish this one. I know a lot of people want to see a finished product. In one session, but this guy's a little bit bigger. He's a little bit more involved. It's going to take a little bit longer. I mean, some people can work on paintings for months. I mean, this won't be months, but some people do. really a race to get this guy done. Okay. We're getting there on this second pass here. I'm also trying to be careful around my other colors that we've already gotten painted in here. Because sometimes I get fumble-handed and drop my paintbrushes. This hand and I are not always on the same communication plane. It's like, hold it tighter? You mean let go? And I'm like, no! No! That's not at all what I meant. Like, oh, so you said hold it tighter, and I heard let go. Huh, weird. I mean, I've done that with the needle felting needle before, too. So, I mean, it's not that huge of a surprise, but dropping a paintbrush is a lot more of a fix, potentially, than the needle felting needle handle thingy. I mean, that could result in a broken needle, but which has its own different set of problems. See, that looks pretty good. See, that second coat on this color makes all the difference. Just doing a maintenance rinse there. Okay. It's so strange. It feels like it's extra dark out, but I don't think it is. I know when I was taking the recycling out, the sky was looking a little funny. There's Tappy Boy. What's up, Tap Tap? Do you need to go potty? Mr. Tappy Toes. I will say he looks so proud in his new harness. And of course, when we're at the park, if somebody doesn't acknowledge him when they walk by, then he wants to follow them. And he starts like trying to chase them down. Hmm. You want to go potty or do you want snackies? Be a little column A, could be a little column B. Okay. So, I mean, it's starting to take shape. So where do we want? Let's do this little guy here. Is it gonna do these the super dark one? Maybe. I don't remember now. I'm thinking it was gonna be the super dark one. Had to change how I was sitting. And do a little touch up there because my paintbrush got a little carried away. So this one, shoot, I touched it. I wanted to do that. All right, well, that's should be good enough. The outline between those two should probably fix any minor visual issue there. Like, I'm not a huge fan of this brush, but it kind of gets the job done. Like, some of the streakiness is yeah.
Just so you know, he's enthusiastically eating the dog food.
Okay. Can you light? Okay. I mean, that's fine as long as he's gonna eat it, but he stopped eating it for a while.
Maybe he just had too much, or maybe he was associating it with whatever his tummy problems.
So this one. We can get filled into here. Don't know if I'll need to get some more of this. I might. In order to finish getting that color. All filled in here. Oh, my paintbrush wavered a little bit there. These edges are always a little bit tougher. For me, at least. So I really hadn't planned on taking the design down the edge, like all the way wrapping it around. It wasn't what I had planned to do. Okay. So we will work on getting this pass down. And then I'll go and do the second coat on the other guy. Okay.
Do you need to pee these snuffles?
She probably does. Honestly, he probably wants to too. I told you she wants to be a snuffle pancake. That dog has no self-preservation thoughts in her skull. She loves to get right under your feet where you're about to step. One of these days, we'll get the desk turned. Uh-oh.
That was me.
Was that a hedgie or a duck? He has this hedgehog toy that makes the same snuffling noises that one of his, that the other dog makes at the same time.
Snuff, snuff.
Do I need to hold her out of the way?
I don't think so. Snuff, go to bed.
Stool
Stay.
Snuffles!
Stay.
Hey, Snuffles, wait.
Stay.
You wait there for Daddy to come back. She's obsessed with the husband, like she doesn't want him out of her sight. To the point where she's tried to run out the door after him. And his mom is not a good pet parent in the sense that she puts too much trust in what a dog might or might not do without it being trained not to do the thing.
Good job. Good space. Space. Good job. Daddy didn't forget the rule.
So we think that the mother-in-law has had her run out of their RV or potentially here when we weren't here. Which is a bit of a problem. Yeah, I was gonna say, it smells like that went out. So, second pastime on this one. It's taking shape. Now, I haven't done the rest of the flowers yet. I know that I had planned one here and planned one there. I don't think I had planned any in here, but I'm probably going to add it. So I do have those smaller stones. Dang it, this brush. Just trying to clean up that edge and it was making it worse. That didn't help that my hand was shaking a little bit. At that angle. I mean, it happens, at least for me. Alright, I don't have a whole lot of this left out on my lid here. So I think with the next payout I get in a couple of months, if we get another one, I'm gonna go hunting for some egg plates for the gouache specifically, so I don't have to keep rinsing that palette. I did see a 2-pack on Amazon that I might ultimately end up getting. But we'll see. Alright. Now, I don't know what color specifically that I want to do those other 2 circles with over there, but I think I'm probably gonna do them in white. Right, because like this circle has the 2 white circles, and we haven't done any other white circles yet, and it looks a little weird that we haven't. So I think I want to do that. So I'm just making sure this is shook pretty well. The white might need 3. Coats, we'll see how it does. But I think the other white sections took a couple of passes. Just making sure that I didn't stick my hand in wet paint there. Okay, so there's that one. I want to get this guy down here, but I also don't want to put my hand in wet paint, so I need to be careful. Okay. Now this one's gonna have a white flower in it. This one, not this white one that we're painting. Just for clarity there. Okay, yeah, definitely need some more passes on that. Alright, so okay, so we'll get the flappy brush while that is drying. And I will clumsily try to get a circle painted in here. Very clumsily. I guess that's not too bad. I know probably not the best way to paint in that flower, but if it works and gets you there in the end. Is it really so bad? I went out of my circle a little bit there. Shoot. My hand got carried away. My bad. You know what? I still have some of that wet. Okay. Mostly all better. Mostly. Excuse me. Okay. And we'll get that guy put into there. So I mean the flower petals are going to be a little different from one another, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Because I mean, even in nature, not every flower petal is the same. Some will be a little off from each other. There. There I go again, going outside the circle. Like the very tip of this brush, like tips, like bends under itself a little bit. So if I hold it a specific way, I don't see the little nub bending, which is where a lot of that is coming from. This might be fun, like even for Christmas. And like making these look poinsettia like. I know they won't be full-on poinsettias because, you know, I think there might be too many flower petals here, but it might be fun. And these could be like Christmas balls. Or baubles, as some people like to refer to them as. Now, obviously, my flower petals here are going to need at least a second coat, if not a third, but this is basically just to get their shape in here. I'm actually really proud of these flowers for being free-handed, and I don't freehand things well. They're not coming out half bad. Okay. Alright, that's not too bad shape-wise. Alright, I've already got the paint in this brush. So might as well see. If I can get this next coat. Might be better off with the other brush. Yeah, this one's just a little too soft. I mean, it's getting the job done. But yeah, I think I like the other brush better. That's okay. This one was ready for a rinsey-roo. Anyhow. Alright. Let me get a drink and swap brushes here. Okay. Let's go back to the black brush here. And we'll get coat number 2. worked into here. Okay, I'm not sure how many passes I did on those ones. Looking at these, it might have been 3. Potentially. Chat is disconnecting on everything. Disconnected on the Kindle, disconnected on the PC. It's disconnecting like crazy on the Kindle, actually. We haven't dropped any frames. So that is definitely a Twitch issue. Yeah, thinking the flowers actually got 3 coats. Oh goodness, they are cutting that grass again? It's barely had a chance to grow. Swear these guys cutting the grass across the street on this church property are either getting paid every time they cut it, and like they're like, oh nope, it rained, we have to cut it again, and the church is like, okay. Or they've got nothing else better to do and are retired and are bored and like loud toys. Seems like every time I turn around, they're over there mowing. Like lately, it's been like almost every other day. Every 2 days. It's like, guys, what the heck? At least wait until after the rain on Wednesday. Now this one was a little more streaky, but it was also on a darker color. And I still feel like that might have been 3 passes on that flower. Because I mean, the darker undercolor, the more coats this white is going to need on the top. with the type of paint that I'm using. Now, if you're using the tube paints, you might not need to do quite so many coats. One coat, like, do ya? But I'm kind of okay with the slight streakiness on that one, because it almost kind of gives like the veiny look through some petals and stuff. So I think I'm okay with that. Alright. So I definitely want one last pass on this. That'll be, I think, the last pass on those circles. Question is, do I want that to be the last pass on the petals? I think that flower might need one more pass on the petals. Okay, now. Oh. If I do a white flower here, will it, hold on one second. I think I can get away with it. Alright, so if we put that there, so this guy, coming out to there. Like it's a smaller background circle, so we don't want to be overly large. there, because then that won't make much sense. Okay. So I try to do like the north, south, east, west kind of shape here first. Mostly so I don't run out of room. Because I'm good at that. I don't always leave myself enough room working all the way around. And like it gets me there in the end, right? So it's all that really needs to matter. I'm trying to pull towards the center. Just if nothing else to try to give me like the flower veiny look. Oh, I'm slightly out of frame. Sorry about that. Alright. Fill in this guy here. And it makes my life a little bit easier when I come back for another pass on everybody. Shapes are already filled out here. Actually not done too bad today. We've made some decent base coat progress. Well, at least I like to think we have. I mean, I know we haven't gotten very far from this corner, but in the grand scheme of things, this does take time to get through. At least for me. I think after we get this last petal in here, I'm going to do a maintenance rinse. Where we come back in with the other coats. Right, so flower number 2 there. The first one of this session. I'm going to come back in and get them with just a little bit more. Now, each flower could potentially look a little bit different, even though we're painting these guys in white at the moment, depending on what their undercolor is. So those petals have a little bit more veining in them because of however I managed to do those last week. And the darker color underneath. Excuse me. And this guy is a little bit lighter underneath, so the veins in these petals not quite as noticeable. They're still there a little bit. All right. That looks pretty good. We'll get that last petal on that one filled in. Okay. So its friend over here definitely needs some more coverage. It's only had one pass here. Now, I know I've got the white of the flower touching that white circle. And maybe I should have made that flower dark. But I didn't think about it till after I started it. And I'm going to have a black outline, I think, where the circles are touching. And then maybe switch to white where they're not. Potentially. Have to see how things look after everybody gets painted in here, but that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. All right. Lost my place. Had an itch on my arm. And got distracted. But I think our idea is starting to come to be here. Like it's becoming more apparent. Maintenance rinse time. Like, not all of these circles will get flowers. But I am liking the flower concept. A bit more as we go. Sorry, I'm over here and I'm thinking, do I want to try to do a half flower here? I only have a full circle rhinestone though. I don't have like a half circle rhinestone. So I'm a little unsure. Of if that would look right. I mean, I guess we can just try it, right? Like, worst that happens is that we absolutely hate it, and I have to end up putting something else there. But let me get the base of our flower guy. Figured out here. Or we fret it too much. I mean, it is just acrylic paint, right? We can paint over it. No harm, no foul. If we absolutely hate it. This used to be my awesome go-to liner brush, and then the tip did me dirty and started curving inward. And I was like, no. But we can still use it for some things, right? So that's what we're going to try to do, is use it for some things. Just have to keep in mind about that tip not being completely straight, that it is tucking in on itself. I mean, it's not terrible. This green tooth texture, whatever you want to call it, of this canvas is being very prominent on this particular flower. I can see the texture shining through like that watercolor paper texture. That's a little better. I can kind of see it on that one, on that one too, but you know what? It's alright. If I start fussing that, we'll never get anywhere here. Alright. And I've heard or seen some people say they like to see that texture. They like to see brush strokes. Like, I don't mind it to a certain degree, but then if it's not done right, it just kind of feels sloppy to me. Alright. So we got that guy there. And I want to do one here. I think I have enough white out on the palette to get that guy. Excuse me. Alright. So we'll get this guy popped in. We gonna do any more anywhere else though? I don't know. I guess we'll have to make that call as we go. Potentially. Like, they don't all have to be in white. Do you need help? You need help, don't you? No, don't get down. Oh, is Snuffles in your spot?
Or is Ed in the way?
Ed might be in the way.
Hey, Ed.
Somebody's, he's not happy about. Alright. He gets real nervous around the cats because Peanut likes to just randomly swing at him. I don't blame him. I wouldn't be too happy about that. In fact, Peanut will randomly swing at me if I stop petting him. It's claws out, and where do you think you're going? Alright. Get this guy filled in here. Yep. And say this guy here. I know the flowers look a little funny doing it this way. Until all of their petally guys are in. But it's okay. Part of the process. It keeps people guessing, right? Like, that's a weird-ass flower. And then you get it all painted in, and I'm like, oh. Well, that's not so bad after all. Are they perfect flowers? No, not by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a flower and it does look a little different than our sketch. I had a feeling it was going to. Like, that's fine. Not a real big deal. Alright, I'm just letting that dry for just a second. And I'm still gonna come in with the dotting tools and add some little designs here and there. I'm still going to do that. We're not there yet. Just not there quite yet. Alright. That should be dry enough for the next layer. Okay. Hello, JR. How are you? How are things in your neck of the woods? Things are going okay? Sometimes I have to remind myself I wanted to pull in. Towards the middle. Busy but sleepy, so trying to put off work. But we're okay. We could be better. I'm disappointed we have to postpone our trip that we were supposed to take in November altogether now. Until like April or May. But that's the way things go, right? That's the way things go. Yeah. We're not entirely thrilled. Oh, we just weren't gonna have enough money to go. It was gonna be really tight. We had to cover all of the house bills for a couple of months, and that kind of messed up our plan of we were originally going to take that money and put it towards going away, and things didn't work out that way, and we were originally supposed to go to SeaWorld. um the it might have been the opening day or maybe the second day of the Christmas decorations being up, while my mom was visiting her sister and my brother. And then that was looking kind of like that was going to be too much money right now. And I was like, I also don't know if I want to be there on opening day of the Christmas decorations. The crowds are probably going to be crazy. It would have been like the week before Thanksgiving, and my mom like wanted us back by Thanksgiving. And I'm like, we don't have to have Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving, but whatever. Um, like I'll cook when we get home. But and then we needed money for Thanksgiving dinner to get all of that, and then Christmas. So I relented and I was like, okay, well, let's skip SeaWorld and we'll just go to the beach for a couple of days because then I can get some seashells and stuff. And and then I saw that there was like a small zoo in Naples, Florida. I was like, oh, we could go check that out. And there's like a botanical garden. We could go to that for something to do also as a backup in case it rained. And although if it's just raining, as long as it's not a full-on downpour, I would probably still be out there getting seashells, maybe. But then I'd be really, really muddy, so I don't know. Um, but we were sitting here crunching numbers and we're like, this isn't gonna happen. There's just not enough. It's cutting it too close. Like we were overestimating for like gas and hotel on the way down and on the way back, and um when you get that close to the holidays and it gets to be the high travel season in Florida, everybody jacks prices up. So we might have also had trouble getting a place to stay on the fly. We probably would have had to book it ahead of time. So it was like, ugh, I don't know. So now we're just gonna have to push it back to the end of April, like beginning of May, somewhere in there. It does mean his mom's gonna have to stay here or come back for that time period because she has to watch the house and watch the critters. Um, Ambulance and maybe a police car going by. Um, sorry, I'm trying to figure out what color I want to go to next. Oh gosh. If I go with either one of these colors, they're going to be touching, but we are going to do the black line in between them. So I'm sure it was going to be inevitable that that was going to happen. I thought I had made this the light gray, but I guess not. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what color I want to go to here. Yeah, so I'm like really disappointed. And then, we had a stressful situation pop up later that supposedly has been resolved. We won't know if it's actually been resolved until next month. So I'm like, oh good. Oh good. So I've got that like hanging out there. And I was like, well, wait, we still have to pay the house property taxes. We have the money for that put aside. We're gonna try to take care of that this week because it's not due till like October. But I don't like stuff that's due months and months ahead of time to just hang. If we have the ability to pay it now, I would like to pay it now and not have to think about it until next year again. So, this is the light gray. It's that shade. You know what? Yeah, let's paint this one this color. Well, sometimes we have a tendency to lose track of stuff. And it's like, oh, right. But that was another thing we were gonna have to pay right before we left, and it's like, yeah, we're probably gonna have to wait. If we try to go in like February, we have to be concerned about snow. Well, February and March, really. And I don't want to travel in January. So, like, January, February, March, we have to be worried about snow on the roads between us and our destination. Because we are road tripping, we're not flying. I mean, even if we were flying, it would still be a concern, but I can't really fly anymore. My nerves can't handle it. The husband's autism can't handle it, and anxiety. I think the last time either of us flew anywhere was on our honeymoon. Fairly certain. Things were a lot different then, so. But we both kind of prefer being in the car because then we can stop and get out whenever we want to, get a snack whenever we want to. If we just can't stand it anymore for the day, we can stop. It's just easier. Unfortunately, it is a 2 to 3 day drive to our destination, so. But maybe we can get enough saved up where we can make it worth going, because I mean, it sucks to drive 2 to 3 days to only be there for like 2 to 3 days to turn around and come back. Don't think you've flown for about 10 years, and that was just northeast England to Northern Ireland, so not far. Are they close together? The last time we flew was from New Jersey to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. That was about a 2.5 hour flight, I think. One way. Roughly. But then my neurotic brain was like, no, we have to be at the airport like 2 hours early. It gives me such anxiety watching people travel on vlogs on YouTube where they're like, it's fine, I'll get there like an hour before the flight. I'm like, no, no, security. You'll never get through security in that amount of time. What are you doing? Like, don't cut it that close. It's the only place you've flown to. One of your brothers lives there with your sister-in-law and your nieces. You've never been to any other country other than Scotland. Is Ireland nice? I've never been. I don't even have a passport. We've never left the country. I think this is the lighter gray. Yeah. You like it? It's really beautiful, very friendly people. Oh, nice. Very nice. So what language do they speak? Like, do they generally speak English or do they speak like Gaelic or something? English? Oh, cool. That's helpful. So we are just working on our grayscale with some white thrown in circle design here. Yeah, so I'm bummed about that. I'm like, really? I was already bummed and trying to be an adult about not doing the SeaWorld part of the trip, but now I'm like really kind of, but what can you do? All right. But it does give us a bit more time to get some other stuff paid off that needs to get paid off. And we still kind of need to go to Virginia eventually to see how we feel about the area that we might be considering moving to in a few years. But that has to be done at like an allergy heavy time of year. Probably like fall or early spring. From where you live, it's a straight line of, oh, that ain't nothing. That would be like, let's see, that'd be like half a day's drive here. Maybe a full day's drive. That's fairly close. I always forget about how close all of the countries are, or how close they appear on the map over in England and Europe and stuff. Excuse me, Europe. Because, like, here, you could drive for, it would take a full day to cross part of a state. So, like, our trip from here in northwestern Arkansas, we're like almost to the corner where like Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri meet. We're like up in that upper corner. Um, that area down to the west coast of Florida, about halfway down the state of Florida where my brother lives and where my aunt has a house. Um, that is about 1,200 miles, roughly. That takes us a good 2 to 3 days, depending on how much we drive. So, as comparison, you are. Wow, it's closer to go to Northern Ireland than it is to go to London for you. Wow, that's wild. But like it also depends on traffic here, on the roadways and all that. Yeah, so I hadn't wanted the same colors touching, but it was inevitable that it was going to happen. Especially when I didn't plan that properly. Oh well, we were going to outline the larger circles themselves anyway, to at least separate them out from each other. You're not the biggest fan of London. It's very busy and chaotic, and you haven't had the friendliest encounters. Wow, really? But you need to go overseas to get to North Ireland by plane or boat. Well, that's true. So, like, there's a ferry that'll take you? Or is there a ferry that'll take you? Or are you just talking like if you had a personal boat? If we go the real dark gray here. Let me think about this for a second. If I go the real dark gray here, I can go the real dark gray here. Which means I could go the medium gray here. Or the white. Could go white there. And white here. Medium gray here. Dark gray here. Alright, we can go light gray here. Yeah, there's a ferry, but is it a bit out of the way? Huh. How long does the ferry take? Look at me asking you all these questions like you're a damn travel agent. I'm sorry. I mean, I could just go figure it out myself. But it's nice that you have at least two options if you didn't want to fly. Or couldn't fly. You love Scotland though, you also have family there, mostly in the rural areas. Oh, nice. No, we've never been out of the country. I think his mom's been to Canada a couple of times in the past. I don't know if they've been recently. We haven't had any mail show up to indicate that to be. Dark gray. I think I want that one to be medium gray because we've got the light gray there. So if I go white, gray, white, white, medium, dark. So if this is white and this is dark, probably do this light gray there. Couldn't say you've ever only gone by plane, and that was 40-ish minutes in the air. Oh, that's, wow, that is super quick. Wow. I mean, part of me is surprised that they're running plane trips for 40 minutes. But another part of me shouldn't be surprised because I was on a plane once for a half an hour, which concerned me. Because it was the first time, oh God, the first time I flew by myself. I had only ever flown once before that. And that was a straight to my destination. And I was with somebody. So the second time ever that I flew, well, I guess technically it would be the third because I had to fly home. So I guess the third time ever I had been on a plane was quite an adventure. Because my route took me all over the place. Because there was no direct flight from the airport I was leaving from. I could have attempted to travel from South Jersey up to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but that would have involved the train or the bus. And that was just a little too much for me to handle on my own for the first time. And I didn't want to do that alone. Like, I needed somebody with me to show me where I had to go and what I was doing. So my ass didn't end up in New York or miss my plane. But I would have had like anxiety, headache, and meltdown by the time I got to the airport. So flying out of South Jersey, my route took me from South Jersey to Ohio, which was bizarre to me, but I'm like, okay. And then I had maybe just about an hour? No, that one was 2 hours. To get from where I was landing and what gate I was landing at to get to my next flight's departure gate. So I managed to get over there and I was like, okay. So then I had to wait around, which was fine. I'd rather be waiting than being like, oh my God, I'm never going to make this flight. Because I like to add in time for possible delays. So then I'm waiting. I get on my next flight, and that flight's taking me to Texas. I was trying to go to Northwest Arkansas here, where the husband was at the time, fiance. And, well, no, we weren't engaged yet. I was just coming to see him. And, we were just dating then. And, so it took me to Dallas-Fort Worth Airport in Texas, flying over the airport that I needed to go to. And I'm like, we couldn't have just flown direct there? No? Okay. Oh, I didn't think these two are gonna touch. Shit. Well, that's alright. They won't be touching very much, and I think I'll be able to find my line here. When it's all said and done. Okay. And so I landed in Dallas-Fort Worth. And I'm definitely in the central time zone now. So I had to make sure I changed my watch. And I'm like, oh no. My gate is on the other side of the airport. I had to run to make sure I didn't miss my next flight. I think I got over to that gate and found it with like maybe a half an hour to spare, which was too much for me. That was not enough time. I've never been to that airport before. I had no idea where I was going. I'm like, okay, just follow the signs, just follow the signs. And that plane, we had to walk outside to board it. And I'm like, oh God, I thought I was getting on a jet, not a prop plane. It was a jet. It was just a very smaller one, and it was in an old section of the airport that did not have gangways connected to the terminal or something, and I was just like, oh my god, what is happening? This was all very foreign to me and new, and I'm like, okay, right. So then I finally land in Northwest Arkansas. That adventure began at like 6 in the morning and didn't end till, let's see, I think I got to that airport at like 10:30 at night. And by the time we got to his house, it was like almost 11:30. I was so done. I was like, this is too much. Like, this is crazy. Um, the way home was worse. I did not go the same way the way home for some reason. That would have been slightly better because at least I would just be doing it in reverse. No, no. My way home from here took me to Atlanta, Georgia. Oh my. That airport is ginormous. I did not realize in my tiny little non very traveled brain just how large the Atlanta airport was. I had only ever been in the tiny international Atlantic City airport. They said they were international. They had the runway length to accept international flights, but they never really got anybody to come in to do international flights out of there. They only had like 5 gates at the most. It was a very small airport. So when I landed, I'm trying to find my next gate. And it's in a different terminal. And I'm like, okay. Right, so I need to get to this terminal. I'm like, we'll follow signs. I walked in a circle around a set of stairs 3 times before I realized that the stairs, like the stairs were going down, but like right above the stairs on the wall or at the staircase above it was a sign that pointed down. It was very hard to see to my terminal. And I'm like, freaking really? So I looked stupid walking in a circle around the stairs. I'm like, right, security's probably like, what is this girl doing? I go down those stairs. And I'm like trying to follow the signs to my gate or my terminal. And now I'm seeing signs that say train to terminals. And I'm like, train? The fuck you talking about? A train to the terminal? Like, what is this? And I'm like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't want to end up leaving the airport. Like, my brain was not computing the fact that this airport was so big that they had trams, like monorails, running between the terminals. Like, I had never heard of such a thing. I'd never traveled on my own before and had never been to an airport that large. Keep this in mind. I know it sounds dumb, but my brain just could not wrap around this fact. And I'm like, what is this? I'm like, this was like so scary to me. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I think I'd rather be on foot where I can change my mind in case I'm going the wrong way. And I'm trying to check the time and I'm like, I'm running. Like I'm like with my bag and stuff, and you hear those are awfully loud. Are they? I don't know. I don't know if I've ever been on a monorail. But it kept saying like trains, and then I was like following the sign. I'm like, no, I don't want the train. I want to be on foot. I will walk it. I will run it. I don't want to be on the train in case it takes me where I don't want to go. And then I was like, well, how much is this train? Like, I don't have money for that. No, we're gonna stay on foot. So, oh, okay. And I'm following my signs, and then all of a sudden I hit a door that goes outside onto the tarmac that says bus to terminal. And I'm like, uh, shit. And now I'm like, maybe I was supposed to take the train, but it says my terminal. And I'm like, okay. And there's some other people that are out there waiting. Some people were smoking, some people were waiting, and I'm like, okay, well, there's other people out here. It was like I was second guessing that I did something very wrong. And I'm like, shit. I'm like, okay, well, I guess we'll wait and see if this bus shows up. So a bus showed up, got me over to the terminal. I finally get over to where my plane is, and I'm like looking at my next set of boarding passes after I get done with this plane. This plane was supposed to take me to Cincinnati, I think, to Ohio. And I'm like, I'm looking at what time the plane was leaving. And I'm looking at what time my next flight is. And I'm trying to figure out what time zone Cincinnati Airport was in, because I couldn't remember if they were in Central, if they were in Eastern. And I'm like, oh shit, this is going to be like a 2.5 hour flight from Atlanta to Cincinnati. Maybe 2 hours. I'm going to be getting off this plane right as my other flight is boarding. Like, I'm going to miss my other flight. I was in a panic. I was having a silent meltdown as I'm getting on the plane. And as I'm sitting in my seat. I had never seen a plane this big. Ever. When I got on it. All this time up until now, I had been on planes that were like 2 seats on one side, 2 seats on the other. This plane was 2 seats on this side, like 3 seats on the other, or 2 seats on the other, and like 3 in the middle or something. I'd never been on a plane this big before. I was like, the fuck? I was I don't know how to describe it. I was totally lost and confused. And so as everybody is settling in, they're saying, okay, well, there's going to be some TV shows that you can watch on the thing. They're like, the expected length of the flight time is going to be 30 minutes. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? I'm like, did they just say 30 minutes? I was like, how big is this plane? And I'm like, why am I on a plane for a half an hour? I was so confused. I'm like, this is the right plane, right? I am going to Cincinnati, not like Charlotte, right? Because we're in Georgia, and my brain was like, we're gonna make that in 30 minutes. Okay, and I was still silently sitting there, not believing that that's how long or how short the flight was gonna be. And in the middle of my mental crisis and almost panic attack about this flight and finding this gate and everything, once I had a minute to decompress, there was 2 passengers seated in front of me. It was an older gentleman. Well, he wasn't that old. He was maybe a couple years older than me, flying with a maybe 4-year-old? 5 at the most. I'm bad judge of how old somebody is by looking at them. And I guess maybe if I had to guess, it was an older brother or a very young dad that just was not here to be the chaperone. Like, they were not someone that was used to flying with a kid. They had nothing to entertain the child. And they were certainly not attempting to entertain the child. Not, oh, here, look, let me put this show on for you, or let's talk, here's some crowns, let's color. Nothing. Sat the kid in the seat, had him put his seatbelt on, put headphones on, and was watching air traffic control or where the flight was going on the map. And totally ignored this child for the entire plane ride. How do I know this? Because the child decided I was going to entertain him in the middle of my mental meltdown, and I'm just like, I can't handle this. And kid is constantly fidgeting, constantly moving around, constantly looking back at me through the seats and showing me the covers of his headphones, and then oh, I lost them, I can't find them. And I'm like, just staring at this child, and I'm like, no. And I'm like, what is happening? I was like, no, 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 I can't do this. I was like, can I get off? But I had to get home. And it was a long day. And then when I got to Cincinnati, I realized that I actually had like a 3-hour layover. You okay? For my next flight. I was like, oh, okay. I think I tried to find something to eat because I hadn't eaten all day because I was so stressed out. Another time I flew, it was one stop in Cincinnati, and then it was from Cincinnati direct to here, which was better. That was much better. However, since I was a little freaked out about my padding between flights the last time I had done that, I was like, we need to make sure we have enough of a buffer here, because if there's a flight delay, I don't know how to handle missing my flight, you know. I've never been in that position before. So the last trip that I had taken down here by plane, I think my flight left, what time did my flight leave? I think it was early in the morning. I don't think it was any later than 8. And we had been up the entire night before because we weren't sure when we were going to be able to go visit each other again, because I only had so much vacation time from work and, you know, money for plane tickets. So we were up all night talking. I think we got maybe an hour and a half of sleep, if that, maybe 2 at the absolute most, which was fine because he didn't have to go to work that day. But I had to travel. And I'm like, no, I'll be good, because I'm still riding on the adrenaline of travel and anxiety, except when I got to Cincinnati, that trip, on the way home, I think my flight was delayed. I think I had given myself like a 4-hour window just in case anything happened getting there. And then my flight ended up getting delayed on the way home leaving Cincinnati for like an additional 2 hours. I was stuck there like six plus hours. I was so tired because at that point I had stopped moving and had to sit to wait. Like, I couldn't pace for that many hours non-stop. But every time I sat down, I started getting like the droopy eyes and the droopy head, and I was starting to nod off, and I'm like, oh no, 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 no. we can't fall asleep here because I will pass out and I will miss this flight home. Like, that's just not gonna happen. Because at that point, we were just waiting for an announcement that we were good to go. And I was like, oh no. I think by the time I got home, it might have been like 11 o'clock or something. Like, I had to stop at the convenience store on the way home, and I'm like, I need food. Nothing is open. This is the only place that's open 24 hours. I need food before I fall on my face. Like, I was eating so much junk in the airport. I'd gotten all kinds of candy, trying to get the sugar rush to keep me awake. I didn't want to go far once we were trying to figure out when our flight was actually going to leave, so I didn't really venture to get real food, and a lot of the stuff in that airport was expensive. And I was almost out of cash, and I was like, great. Like, cash in my bank account, period, not like cash on me. So I was like, this is not my idea of fun. But yeah, the last time we flew was for our honeymoon 18 years ago. Was the last time we were on a plane. Which sounds crazy to say. And it might be cheaper, well, I guess it depends on where you're going. But it might be cheaper and faster, at the very least, to fly. And some places you can't drive too, but I prefer driving because then we can stop at all the fun places on the way if we so choose. Oh yeah, we met online in 99 in a chat room through AOL when internet was still dial-up.
Back in the old days.
Back in the old days. We talked for a few years before we met. And then we were engaged for a couple of years, long distance. Yep. Yep, we try to mimic that sound with the one dog when we're trying to tell her to do something and she just stares at us. We're like, "Uh-oh, the internet's trying to connect. Will it do it? Will it do it?" And we're making the dial-up noises at her and she just stares at us blankly. And so we were engaged for a couple of years, long distance, and then we got married in 2007. So yeah, we just had our anniversary last weekend. I think it was last weekend, or was it the weekend before? No, it was last weekend. We got married June 8th in 2007. All right, you guys. We're getting there. We're not quite halfway on the painting part, like on the filling in the circles, but almost. So I might add a flower here, maybe. I don't know if I'm going to add one in here. I could. I have to think about it. It's a very blank space, so I might. Because while I want to do some doodles and dots designs, I'm not sure how I really want to do it yet. Right now I'm just trying to get our base, our main event here figured out before we worry about the details too much. But it's starting to look like something, especially in here as we're getting more of the pink covered up. So I'm pretty happy with where we stand right now. pretty happy. Like, it's going in a good direction for me mentally. Tomorrow we'll be back. And we will be working on our last magnet of this particular season of Bob Ross that we're following along with. I'm not sure how this one's gonna go. I looked at the end version of it last week and I was a little befuddled, but maybe it'll make more sense as we start from the beginning. But we'll see. So we've got that on tap for tomorrow, and then Wednesday we'll be back in Planet Zoo. Oh, thank you. So I'm going to try to do some like black outlining where the circles are touching each other, and then probably maybe like white outlining where they're not, perhaps. So like black from like here to there, and then maybe white, and then black to there. We'll see. I don't know how it'll look. I'm at least going to do the black where they're touching each other, just to give them a little separation from themselves, maybe. We'll see. But that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. But, yeah, so when we're in Planet Zoo on Wednesday, we'll be finishing up that bathroom area and possibly starting on the bistro in the butterfly area, I think, before we actually start the butterflies. That might be what we lean towards. And I'm not sure if we're going to do open butterfly garden or if I'm going to do like the netting around each building, or I don't know. We might do open. I might enclose them into glass. Maybe not the exact glass pattern that I used in Streamline Park. I have to think about it. We'll see. We'll see how things feel. I kind of wanted it to be a little more open. But I don't know. We'll have to see how things start looking in there for that. I'm still thinking about what I want to do. But that's it for today. So thank you for stopping by, JR. I hope you get some sleep and you're able to get that work caught up. Thank you for telling me of your adventures. And thank you for everybody else that stopped by. Don't forget to follow the socially links. We've got links to the eBay store. That stuff's going to be coming down soon. Probably the end of the month. And, so if there's something on there you want, I would grab it now. We've got links to the Ko-fi page for those that don't want to donate through Twitch. We've got links to the Blue Sky and links to the YouTube channel. I think we have another episode of Honey, I Joined a Cult going up tonight. I did readjust the upload schedule over there, so now it should be back to going up every day, and we'll see if views and clicks and all that go up. Because it certainly tanked when I did every other day, so we'll see what happens with that. And everybody enjoy the rest of your evening. Oh, thank you. You as well. And until next time, you guys, have a good one.